What's up, family? This is the life of an entrepreneur. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So, you know what happens on Tuesday around this time? On Tuesday around this time, yours truly gets on and always has a phenomenal guest. Now, there was one week that I did not have a guest, and that was the week that we talked about the 10 things that every entrepreneur should be doing in their lives. Make sure you go back and watch that either on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or on Facebook. Today, we got a great guest. All the guests have been great so far. And this is another one, right? So, we're going to be talking to the phenomenal Sarah Mills in a little while. And we're going to share some insights for entrepreneurs, for folk who are looking to jump into the entrepreneurial space. And we're just going to buckle in and talk about this journey. So come join us, share this with a friend, and let's get ready for another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. Let's go. Here we are. Here we are. It's Tuesday. That means it's time for another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. I am your host, Oliver Marcel, speaker, author, and coach in the relationship building and men's empowerment spaces. It is my goal in life to do what's on my t-shirt. If you see my t-shirt, it says 2020 before hindsight. Shameless plug. If you want a t-shirt, I can show you how to get one. I got the hookup. So come to me if you want to get a t-shirt. I would love for you to support me in that way. But this is my goal because there are some things that I've learned in hindsight. There are some mistakes that I've made on my journey of life and entrepreneurship. And if I can help at least one person gain some clarity on the front end before they actually do something, say something, go somewhere, involve themselves in something that may throw off the trajectory of their lives, that makes me a happy camper. So I am your host today, Oliver Marcel. Listen, if you are watching this live, make sure you let us know that you are here. We got Juan Lee in the comments. What's up, Juan Lee? Juan Lee is here in the comments. Make sure you go watch the episode with Juan Lee. It is phenomenal. I had the opportunity to talk to Juan Lee not too long ago, and it is a great episode. Also, Lisa Brown is here. Good morning, Lisa Brown. Remember that name because she's going to be a guest at some point as well. We're going to be talking to Lisa Brown as well. So thank you for being here. If you're here, shout yourself out in the comments and also share this with someone. So listen, you know what I do. Typically, there's something that I have on my heart that I want to share with you. And so I'm going to share this with you before we bring on Sarah Mills. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible, but not rush because I really want to get to Sarah Mills. She is a phenomenal individual. Verna Haywood is in the house. Listen, remember that name as well, because Verna is also going to be a guest. We got some good folk coming. I'm telling you, we got some great folk. Another future guest is in the house. Gunther is here. Thank you for being here, Gunther. Hi, all. Great to be here. Thank you all for being here and supporting this. This and all the other episodes is brought to you by a group of individuals called Love Entrepreneurs. Love Entrepreneurs is a business fellowship that is created and designed to help ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. And they do this wonderful thing called the Big Fix that we'll talk about a little bit later. But that is a group of people that you want to be connected to. I promise you. Make sure that you remember that name, go to that website, look up the information, and get around some folk who can benefit you and you can be a blessing to. All right. So listen, before we bring Sarah on, I want to share 5 things very quickly to you. And we got Melissa is in the house. Melissa, the spiritual engineer. I love that. I love that. Looking forward to this. Go, Sarah Mills. Sarah Mills is in the house. Sarah Mills has got some fans in the house already waiting for her to arrive. So before we bring Sarah on, I want to share just a couple of tips that I think are important as it relates to relationship building. All of you know that I have a passion for relationship building. And so here are 5 things that you should be considering as it relates to building healthy relationships. And this is both personally and professionally, right? So active listening is number one. Active listening. And essentially, active listening is the ability for you to uh, to digest what is being said to you, what is being shared with you, what is being articulated to you, and you having the ability now to regurgitate, if you will, that information in a way that solidifies your understanding. So I won't go too much into that. We'll talk about that in later shows. Active listening. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I talk a lot about relationship building, and I've talked about active listening there if you want to get some more information around that. So active listening is one. Thoughtful communication is another one, right? So we should be crafting messages that resonate with our audience or resonate with the people that we love the most if it's a personal relationship. Be intentional about doing that, right? Because tailoring your approach, it fosters very meaningful conversation. And we all know that communication is a key element to relationship building, right? So we got active listening, we got thoughtful communication. The other thing is networking. And this is more on the professional side of things, right? It's important that you are expanding your network, that you're getting around individuals that are like minded. Hey, listen, shameless plug. Something's going on with my voice today, folks. Shameless plug. Love Entrepreneurs is the perfect place for you to do that kind of thing. The other thing is mutual support. You need to get mutual support. You can also get mutual support in places like this and Love Entrepreneurs, getting around like minded individuals that can help to guide you, to give you the tips and tools that you need to succeed. So we got number one, active listening. Number two, thoughtful communication. Number three, networking. Number four, mutual support. And the last one is create a long term mindset. Often we make the mistake of just fostering a relationship for what we can get out of it. And then when we get what we want out of it, the relationship is dead at that point. We have to stop doing that, folks. We have to foster a long-term mindset. Long-term mindset focuses on building long-term relationships rather than short-term gains. So remember that as you look to build relationships on this journey of entrepreneurship, we should be looking to build relationships and foster phenomenal collaborations. And those are 5 things that we should be paying attention to. Listen, if you want more information, follow me on LinkedIn. I share a plethora of information around relationship building and men's empowerment. And so you can get more information there. Okay, listen, that's it. That's all I got to say, because we got to bring on this great, phenomenal guest today. Solomon is in the house. Thank you for being here. Good morning to you as well. Listen, without further ado, I'm not going to introduce her because I won't do it justice. So I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell you the wonderful things that she has created and is involved in, and then we'll get into the conversation around her life. Now, without further ado, Sarah Mills is in the house. Welcome, Sarah Mills. How are you?
Oh, I'm loving the fanfare welcome. Thank you so much, Oliver. It's great to be here with you all.
Indeed. Listen, it is my pleasure to have you as my guest today. Sarah, just full transparency for those who are watching this, Sarah and I have had several outstanding, inspirational, educational, academic, encouraging conversations in the past, and I know that this will be another one as well. So listen, let's get Crazy David's comment. Crazy David is in the house. Welcome to Crazy David. Hi to both of you from Crazy David and Sunny Lanzarote. Listen, we're already jealous that you're in Sunny Lanzarote, but we're happy that you're here though with us. So Crazy David is in the house. Sarah, listen, before we get into this conversation, let everybody know who you are, what you do. Take as much time as you want, because I know you're involved in a good many amount of things. So who is Sarah Mills?
Who is Sarah Mills? Well, who I am now is probably not who I was 15 years ago. But I tell you what, right now, Sarah Mills is a positive, excited, definitely late to the party entrepreneur. Definitely. Having spent probably the first 45 years of my life going to school, college, uni, and jumping onto sort of the corporate conveyor belt and staying on it for 15 years as a marketing consultant. So yeah, that was Sarah Mills' life up until she was 45 years old, obviously. And that is 15 years ago now. But then I would say that in a shall I or shan't I moment, and I think this is really poignant for entrepreneurs, right? In a shall I or shan't I moment, I changed direction. And I was kind of, I was looking, I was curious. I'm a curious grower and learner. And I think I was definitely looking for other things, right? But in that kind of shall I or shan't I moment, I changed direction and I started my own health and wellness business, right? Alongside my current career, and it just sounded exciting. I think, anybody that listening to this, we're all kind of looking for that crazy it might be, what life work balance, whatever that might be, and we all kind of want it to work with our purpose or our passion, or something that gives us flexibility of time. And so that really for me was my first step into real entrepreneurship, and that was 15 years ago now. And since then, I've created other platforms, which we can talk about throughout this conversation. But it's all about the people you meet along the way, because they ignite your spark, light you up, and it gives you other ideas and inspiration to keep going on that entrepreneur journey.
That and you're right about that, and it's interesting, right? Because everybody has, at least everybody that I've talked to, there's something significant. You talked about the shall I or shan't I moment, right? There's always something significant that is at the cusp of them making that decision to move into that space, right? And we'll talk about what you are, right? So I have a little bit here. I don't have, I can't do it justice, right? But the wellbeing and mindset mentor, right? Global brand ambassador, co-founder at the Wellness Group, founder of Wow Woman. So listen, this woman is doing things big time. But I want to go back. To that pivotal moment, because I love how you put it. I'm with you in the same boat in terms of being late, in air quotes, because late is relative, right? To the entrepreneurial party, so to speak. I had a pivotal moment as well, and I want you to talk about your pivotal moment, because I think it's important for people to hear that, because there's so many people that are on the cusp of making this decision, and they're not sure what is the thing that they maybe should be looking out for. And I know it's different for everyone, but knowing that everybody goes through that, it's always great to hear somebody else's story. So talk about that shall I or shan't I moment, what it was and how you navigated it.
Okay, so I think sometimes people or things present themselves to you. And maybe if something hadn't been presented to me at this time, when I just thought, shall I, shan't I weighed up the pros and the cons, and I'm thinking, well, the what ifs far outweigh, well, it didn't work. It just outweighed it for me. So I think sometimes you've got to just go with your gut feeling. You can overthink everything. We overthink. Sometimes you just got to go, do you know what, this feels right? And you don't have to know the exact path it's going to take. You don't have to see it all printed out for you. You just have to go with your gut feeling. And for me, I knew 100% at the time of working in a full-time marketing career in London with 2 small children. I was out of my house for 12 hours a day. I knew I was looking for something else, but I didn't know exactly what it was. But inside me, I was thinking, is this it, right? Am I here until I'm 60 years old? Do you know what I mean? It was a great agency life. I loved it. But the pivotal moment for me was just thinking, do you know what? I'm going to tick a few boxes here, right? And what I wanted more than anything, Oliver, was more time. Time to me was the greatest extra gift I could be given, really. And working a 9 to 5 job for me, and it was 7 till 7, wasn't giving me that time that I was looking for. So I was offered an opportunity while in my full-time marketing career, like I've alluded to earlier, to be part of an amazing wellness and personal development community. And I just kind of said, yes, let's do it. And I thought, you know what? I'm now thinking how I could work this for the next 5 years, 10 years. It's mine. I can have part ownership of it. And I'm just going to build it in small pockets of time and see where that takes me as a side hustle. And I knew from looking into the brand, the leadership, I knew it was going to offer me exciting future options. And so my pivotal moment was just, what's the best thing that could happen? Write it down, think about it, but don't overthink it. What's the worst thing that could happen? I've still got my full-time job if I need it. Do you know what I mean? So I just think we all just overthink stuff. And I think sometimes you've just got to go, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to learn as I grow. I'm going to grow as I learn. And it's all just my life will never be the same again. And I've never looked back.
Yeah. And I think you freed some folk too with something that you said, that you don't have to know, you don't have to see the end of the tunnel. And that's tough for a lot of folks because human nature almost requires that we see the end of the tunnel. And so I love that you said that, like, you don't necessarily have to have all the pieces together. Now, at some point you did step away from the corporate space, correct?
I did.
What was the decision-making process in that moment? Because that's a big moment for a lot of people to be like, wait a minute, I'm going to step out of the boat and hopefully there's something under my feet when I step out of the boat. So what was that? How'd you navigate that?
I actually got to the point in my part-time other business that I was running, right, alongside my full-time career, where I actually thought, oh my gosh, I want more time. I want to have more time to grow my part-time business. And I really felt like all the time I was in my 9 to 5 job, I thought, I'm missing out. I'm actually missing out on, I don't know, people I could be talking to, ideas I could be having. I felt I was really missing out. And I was like, get me out of here. So for me, it had to also, and a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to, this is the same, is for most people, and that's not everybody, some people have got all the wealth they need and they want to start something else and they're not bound by it. But for most of us, there is a money aspect to it. And we need to be honest about this. For most of us, it's like, I personally couldn't step right out of my corporate career until I had brought in enough from the part-time business to be able to equal that out, right? I wasn't in a position to just jump straight into the self-employed part. And I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs that have got such brilliant ideas and they've kind of started get going, but they're not getting all the clients they're looking for, or they're not getting their voice out there. And they're on that, oh God, am I going to have to go back and get a job? Oh, and they always sort of seeing it as a failing. But for me, and it's never a failing, it's a learning. But for me, it got to the point where I just thought, okay, this is looking good. I've worked my part-time business for 18 months alongside my full-time career, right? Just putting in probably an extra 10 hours a week in those little bits of part-time that you're just wasting time watching TV, doing something else, right? I didn't have to find any extra time. I already had the time to do it. I was just using it for other things. That's another big thing I would say. If you want to start a part-time business, be an entrepreneur, most of us have got other jobs or careers because we have to have a roof over our head. Yeah. So we have to have that money coming from somewhere to start with, for most of us, not for all of us, but for most of us. And so, I just realized that I needed to, when I got to the point where I thought, okay, I've got money, I've got enough monies coming in from this part-time business, right? To initially, I went down to 3 days a week, right? And then it got to the point where I thought, okay, I've got 2 nice bits of income coming in here, call it what you like. And so I resigned from my job. And I just thought, I just took the plunge in the end, I took the plunge. And it was a big deal to do that because you feel like sometimes having that corporate role is secure, but you're not. You're collateral damage. You could get made redundant tomorrow. Right? You can't get made redundant from your self-employed journey ever, from your entrepreneur journey ever. Hope that helps.
And it does. And listen, I hope that for those of you who are listening, you're catching the gems that are being dropped, right? The one big one that jumps out at me is that you don't have to have it all mapped out immediately, right? The other thing is that you have the time. And often we talk about the time that we don't have, but if you consolidate the time that you're on social media, or the time that you are watching Netflix, or the time that you are, you name it, you fill in the blank with whatever it is that you do quite often that takes up an extensive part of your downtime, right? And you said you took that time and you spent that time building up something else to the point where you could, and here's the next big thing, take the leap. Because here's the thing, excuse me, entrepreneurs, at some point, you're going to have to take the leap. Whether you have all the money to do so or you don't, those are two ends of the spectrum. For the person who has all the money in the world to do something new, it is still a leap because they're going into something that they have not done before. For the person who on the other end of the spectrum who doesn't have enough money to do it, they are also taking a leap. So I love that you brought that in there because that gives some perspective to the journey. Because here's what we want to do here in this space. Here, well, maybe I should say what we don't want to do. Here in this space, we do not want to paint this picture that it is this pie in the sky as soon as you flip the switch that I want to be an entrepreneur, that you're sailing high in, in the sky, seven figures, and you're the guru of the earth. Now, you may get to that point, but everybody starts exactly the same. So I always put it in very tangible terms for me that I can understand. I live in the state of Maryland. Everybody who lives on this block, whether they are, when they leave their house, whether they're going into California or they're going down the street, they all have to do the same thing. They all have to get in their car, start their car, and pull out of the driveway in order to get where they're going. And it's the same thing in the entrepreneur space, right? Whether you are on one end of the spectrum or the other, you all got to start out the same way. And it was with some of this wisdom that you've just designed. Crazy David is in the comments. He said, "Hey, Oliver, can you add that Sarah is also good at nagging?" Crazy David has some jokes today.
He does.
Crazy
He's one
David
of my amazing clients. He's one of my amazing clients. So yeah, he loves me nagging him.
Indeed. Crazy David is an awesome individual as well, man. So yeah, thank you for adding some levity to our space. Tracy Kimberg is in the house. Tracy Kimberg, phenomenal individual. Tracy Kimberg. One thing is guaranteed. If you decide to go on the entrepreneurial journey, you will grow. I love that, Tracy. Thank you for adding that insight. You will grow. And I've told Sarah, you and I have talked about this. I've said to many people that it's funny, when I jumped into this entrepreneurial space, what has happened in my life in the way of personal development and growth has had more to do with me growing as a person than me growing a business. And it's interesting that has happened in my life. Listen, let's talk about all the stuff that you're doing. Let's talk about for a few minutes, because you're doing everything. We could spend the rest of the hour talking about everything that you're doing, but let's touch on some of the stuff that you're doing. You have a phenomenal group that you've created for women, and you're doing some things in the health and wellness space, man. Just brag on yourself for a little bit. What's happening in your world right now?
Oh, thank you. That's brilliant. Actually, it does seem like a lot of things, but I always see it, and lots of entrepreneurs have this. I feel like I have got one thing, and it's kind of circular. So it is just about it being in that healthy living kind of sustainable space. I do want people to flourish. I do want people to feel good inside and out. So yeah, part of what I do through my business is offer products and programs for people that are looking for ethical, clean products that they can use for their mind, body, and their skin. Yes, you know, at the end of the day, that is one of the things I do. And I run amazing 30 days to healthy living programs. I'm linked with a phenomenal global brand. Sarah Mills did not create them, but I love the sustainability. I love the fact that they're B Corp certified, which is all about people, product, and profit in equal balance, which really speaks a lot to me. I love the fact they're vegan, certified, gluten-free. All of these things speak to me. So that's been the mainstay of my business, showing people how to find products and programs that really help them look and feel amazing. And through that, they themselves do personal growth, which I love, because, you know, it all starts in your mind. People have got to want to change something, whether it's their gut health, their skin health, their energy, or better sleep. It all starts in your mind first. So you've got to want to do that. So, and then alongside that, I've encouraged, as I was encouraged, as, you know, somebody working in corporate with a full-time job, I've shown other people that have got full-time careers how they could also segue, if you like, into also running their own side hustle alongside everything they're doing and create their own global network with me. So I love the whole social marketing. I love the word of mouth, of just being able to pass that on to hundreds, if not thousands of people. You could do this too with me. Come along, you know, I'll take you on the journey. So I love that sharing. I love that connecting and collaboration. Out of that, that's really encouraged me over the years to want to empower other people, because I was not empowered properly up until I was 40 years old, right? I was just doing the do, right? So that's when I created women's networking groups. Most recently, about 18 months ago, WOW, Women on Winning, an amazing, phenomenal online community that is global, connecting, collaborating. And I love saying, you know, helping women connect in a fun, feisty way. And, you know, that really speaks to me. And I know you've been part of that, Oliver, you know, and I really appreciate, you know, having phenomenal guest speakers on there talking about their expertise. So I do that. And now I'm bringing all this together, right? So my healthy living, I do a lot of personal coaching and mentoring on your mindset, personal development. Vision is my biggest thing. And one thing I would like to say to anyone that's a new entrepreneur here is you've got to set the vision for what you want to create first. The how will always come later, right? But you have to see the vision first. You have to have a real desire to want to do something to change you, to help other people, that will keep you going on your entrepreneur journey. The vision of what you want to create, the impact you want, you need to see that first before you start taking the steps. Because if you don't have the vision, when those obstacles come up and that fire jumps in front of you, you may veer off your path. But if you've got the vision bright, you will stay the course. You've got to stay the course, you know. So what I'm now creating is going to be a social impact platform. I've always called myself Sarah Mills, The Art of Winning. It's always been a name that I've associated with myself, winning in life and in your health. But I am creating a social impact platform that's going to incorporate all of that and bring people together in one place around healthy living, healthy mindset. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to have both of those things to thrive. If you work all the hours and you aren't taking care of what you're putting in your body, you're going to get stressed and burned out, you know? And so I just want to bring the whole thing together and help everybody thrive in a sexy, sustainable way.
I love it. I love it. And listen, I'm following you, and I'm following the journey that you're on and the things that you're doing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a speaker for WOW. I had a phenomenal time with the group, man. A great group of individuals as well. And you're doing exactly what you set out to do. And something you said is key, right? You talked about vision and the importance of vision. Right. There's I'm a church guy. And so there's a verse in the Bible that talks about writing the vision and making it plain. Right. And so you're talking about the importance of understanding that at the onset. Yeah. And what I love about what you said next after that is that the how will follow after that. Right. And so those of you that are listening and you are in the entrepreneurial space and you're still crafting the vision, or you're tweaking, or you may need to revisit the vision, or you're not sure about the how, this is the person for you. Okay. I'm just going to put it out there. You need to get with Sarah. And coming down to the end, we'll talk about how you can connect with Sarah as well. But listen, we got some folk in the comments. Melissa says Sarah has become an amazing mentor for networking and other entrepreneurs. With her assistance, my journey has allowed me to move beyond personal barriers. I can do this. There you go. Personal testimony right there. You can't get any better than that. So, in case you did not want to take my word for it, I feel like we've created a familial environment where you trust me by now. But in case you don't, you just heard what Melissa said, right? So Melissa is seconding the fact that Sarah is a phenomenal individual. Lisa Brown says, great stuff. Great stuff indeed. So listen, you talked about crafting vision, right? And this space that we're in right now is it's sponsored by Love Entrepreneurs, and Love Entrepreneurs is a group of individuals. It is a business fellowship that is designed to help ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. And you talked about casting vision, and it is important, and how important it is to cast vision. There's something that Love Entrepreneurs does in the way of vision casting, and it's called the Big Fix. And you've experienced the Big Fix. I've experienced the Big Fix. And we're going to talk a little bit about your experience in the Big Fix as it relates to casting vision. And we'll talk about what the Big Fix is in a little while. We'll come back to that in a little while. There's a little station identification break, if you will, that I want to take before we do that. But let's get some more comments. Tracy Kimberg is in the house. Entrepreneurs reach success when they walk the talk and have a passion for their vision to become reality. Sarah is absolutely phenomenal as at this exact skill. There you have it. There's another one, right? Listen, we're showering you with proof that Sarah Mills is the one. That is awesome. So listen, Sarah Mills, we're going to take a quick break. I want to come back and we're not really shifting gears. We're actually pinning our wagon to the vision casting piece that you talked about. Talk about the Big Fix and how that was instrumental in casting the vision. But before we do that, let's hear from our friend Lola, who also took part of the Big Fix, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lola, entrepreneur and proud manager at Lola's Bakes and Triple O Homes. I've been with Love Entrepreneur for about a few months now, and I've really enjoyed it. I'll say it's a group of like-minded individuals that really care deeply about each other and care about each other's businesses. My two businesses have undergone the Big Fix, and it was very informative. I learned a lot. It was, caring people that really, and knowledgeable people that helped me analyze my business and took away the tunnel vision. So if you're looking for a networking environment, group of like-minded individuals where you can grow, you can learn, and you can share, you can freely share, I would recommend Love Entrepreneurs. Come try it out. Take care. Bye.
That was our friend Lola talking about the Big Fix and her experience. Shout out to Lola. Lola makes the most amazing cakes. And I should have gotten some pictures to she's going to be on the show at some point. But Lola makes these cakes that they don't look like cakes. And so you make sure you connect with Lola if you want something along those lines to these we got some sweet tooth folks in our community, right? So she can help you with that. But listen, so the Big Fix, we're talking about casting vision, right? And a very important part of casting vision is getting around some folk who can help expand your perspective, because sometimes the vision can be sometimes it's tough to cast, or there's things that we don't see that others around us may be able to come around us and see. And the Big Fix, just real quick, is a opportunity for you as an entrepreneur to lay your thoughts on the table, your goals, your visions, your dreams, your pain points, your challenges on the table, and a group of individuals will literally rally around you and pour into you ideas and concepts and ideologies and action items that you can then take and run with as it relates to casting vision and the how. So talk about your experience with the Big Fix and uh how instrumental was it? What did it do for you? What were the advantages of going through that experience?
Yeah, I think there's always if you're open-minded, if you are open-minded, you will always find transformational moments to learn, right? If you put your ego to one side. When I did the Big Fix, I'd already been in business for many years, right? I already had a successful business, right? Before I even heard about Love Entrepreneurs and the Big Fix. But what I loved about it was, and there are brand new entrepreneurs that come on the Big Fix. Some people have only got an idea for what they want to do. And what I loved about it, it's like having your own mastermind group at your fingertips, right? For 1 hour and beyond, because, you will come back to Love Entrepreneurs. I mean, I've been supporting Love Entrepreneurs probably since its incision. I don't know if that's maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly. But, and then the Big Fix has been created to really allow entrepreneurs to be in a safe space, to be able to say, this is my idea, right? And therefore, actually, it should all start with the vision, right? Now, for me, I already had a business, as I say. But if I was casting, I think my experience, because I speak a lot and do a lot of training and mentoring with people on having the big vision, because that's what keeps me going, excited and passionate on my entrepreneur journey every day, because my vision continually expands, right? And I can see the horizon and beyond, but now I can see every step in front of me. And that's the how part. But what I found was interesting was just dream big, right? So when people are asked, so tell us about, your business, or, because the context for the Big Fix is that we get to listen to you first, right? I love that. We just get to listen to you, you talk, you share. And then do you know what we do? We just ask you questions, right? We ask you questions based on the thing you would love our help with. Not us coming up with solutions straight away, asking you questions, right? And so create a big vision. For me at that time, I think it was about a year ago I did the Big Fix. And, for me, it was like, I have an amazing transformational 30 Days to Healthy Living and Beyond program that I share with people, with everything from mindset, wellness, recipe, meal plans, amazing green gut health and all sorts of things, beautiful stuff. And yeah, I know it works, right? I would love everybody in the world to experience that. Okay, so that could be a big vision of mine, couldn't it? I could put out that to the Big Fix, and I did, right? And I said, okay, this is my vision, right? I would love every single person on the planet where this program is delivered to. So you've got to put your vision out big, because based on that, you will get amazing feedback on, have you thought of doing this? Have you thought about doing that? Could you, have you tried this? Have you tried that? So the Big Fix to me was so instrumental in allowing me with no questions. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve. And then the people in the room, whether it's 10, 12, 15, 20, asking me questions, right? And that helps you grow your vision. It's not about somebody saying, well, that's never going to work. What do you mean everybody in the world? What, you want 6 million people to use your program? I say, yeah, I do. Because they would be happy and fulfilled. Yes, I do, right? And, another love entrepreneur and an amazing big fixer, as we know, some of us know Peter Russell, is an amazing 10x big thinker, right? He gave me tons of ideas. About how to reach that bigger audience, right? Now, the one thing is, you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
You can listen. They can ask you all the questions. Then we all go into breakout rooms, and then we all come up with ideas and solutions. And do you know what I did? I wrote them all down. I wasn't like, yeah, I'm not interested in that one. Write them all down. Because sometimes from the craziest solution and the one that you think that will never work, come the best ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen,
so
I'm just saying. Yeah, I was staying quiet because you are saying exactly what needs to be said, and that is what the big fix is all about. And here's the one thing that I did not say. Here's the kicker. It is free. We should just applaud just for that. Just take a moment. So, listen, you can be a part of this experience by simply reaching out to one of us or anybody else that you've seen on the show up until this point, letting them know that you want to experience this, or letting them know that you want to be a fly on the wall, if you will. Like, come be a part of it. Come lend your expertise and in helping somebody else, and see how good that feels, and then you can be next in the quote unquote hot seat. But yes, you have to do the work. The beauty of this, right, is that Love Entrepreneurs, like we said, is a fellowship that is designed to help ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. So if you're willing to do the work, there are individuals like Peter Russell that you just mentioned that are available to assist you, like Sarah Mills, that are available to assist you, like myself, that are available to assist you in certain ways in order to make that vision come to fruition. So if you want to be a part of that big fix, contact me. Wherever you're watching this, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, Facebook, or on YouTube, you can contact me, connect with Sarah. She is also on LinkedIn as well, and we can make sure that we get you into that experience. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sarah. I got kind of two off the wall questions for you, right? Don't get afraid. They're nothing crazy. The first one is, I want to go back to your story of transitioning into this entrepreneurial lifestyle. And you and I have talked, because you know I'm in the relationship building space and very passionate about relationship building personally and professionally. Talk about the transition from a personal relationship standpoint. Like, what was that? What were the conversations like with your husband, family? You said you had two small kids when you were in the corporate space, and what was the transition like from a family perspective?
That's a really good one. That's such a good one. I love that question, because actually that is often a number one reason I found in my business why people don't make the jump. And it's based on, I remember distinctly, my husband he's the amazing John Mills, by the way, from the Creative Council. Absolutely awesome guy. Been married for 30 years. We've been hanging out for 40 years together.
Nice.
But I do remember, and he is my biggest cheerleader. I remember him when I first told him that I was going to, and you will hear this over and over. I've heard it so many times with people. I share the opportunity of what I offer to people to start their own business. I remember clearly him saying, "How are you going to do that? You don't have enough time." I remember him saying it. I remember it in my head. And I was like, SH ... I'm going to do if I do. Okay, here we go. If I do nothing different, nothing changes. If I do nothing different, nothing changing, right? So, and a lot of times, everybody, and I think this is one of the biggest things I found as well. You do need at some point, yes, you need buy-in, you need support. You do, from your friends and family, because often they are the people you're hanging around the most, right? You do want them to cheer you on. But at the start, they are trying to protect you, right? And that can come across often as you don't know anything about that area. You don't have enough time. That's just the negative monkey that we've all got living in our head. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you small. It's trying to keep you safe, right? It's trying for you not to walk out on that skinny branch. And sometimes you've just got to just have that tunnel vision and go, do you know what? I love you, but I'm doing it anyway, right? I'm doing it anyway. It's going to be fun. And when people have to see your passion, because your passion speaks volumes to someone, right? I'm going to do it anyway. If I do nothing, nothing changes. If I don't do it, I'll just be where I am maybe in 2 years' time. So do you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. It'll be fun. Come with me. Come join me on the journey, you know. Watch me, right?
Yeah.
And if I fall, maybe hold my hand and pick me up, but I'm going to do it anyway, right? And you've got to be so clear in that, because if you're not, it is so easy to take the advice of friends and family who do not know the space that you're going into, who do not know the industry that you've decided to segue into. And they're not the people you should be taking advice from.
Yeah.
They're not.
That's good. Now listen, let's be clear. Shout out to John Mills. That is a awesome guy. Now let's be clear. John and I have had have had a conversation before as well. John is right up there with the best of them, you know. So shout out to John for being a part of that experience and being supportive in what you're doing. But I was just curious because, you know, we've had that conversation before, right? So I just wanted to ask that in this form. Melissa said you can create time because time is fluid. We just use a clock to restrict us from being amazing. Okay, Melissa. All right, Melissa dropping bombs, man. I don't have my bomb here for you, but listen, Melissa dropping bombs. All right, that's good stuff. Tracy Kimberg says, thank you for this interesting discussion. I think it is important to recognize that the naysayers are often speaking from their own fears. Indeed, surround yourself with people that believe in you and support you. Work on your belief in yourself. It is contagious. You're right, Tracy. And thank you, Tracy, for being here, and the rest of you that are in the comments as well. Lisa Brown seconds what Melissa says. Melissa got it. Listen, so I want folk to be able to connect with you, and I want you to share how they can connect with you. But first, I want to ask something of you. You've been doing this the whole conversation. You've been dropping gems. You've been giving advice. I want to get two specific pieces of advice from you. And you may end up reiterating some things, right? The first piece of advice is for the person who is on the fence. The person who is right on the fence. Man, I think I've been built for more. I think I have a passion for something greater. I just don't know what's going to get me to make that leap that we talked about in the beginning. Give a piece of advice to that person. And then the second piece of advice is to somebody who is in your industry, who is in the health space, who is in the wellness space, who's in the space of empowerment and casting vision. Give them some encouragement as well.
Okay. Yeah, brilliant one. Love it. These are absolute nuggets you're dropping as well, Oliver. I'm super inspired by this myself from listening to you. So I would say the one piece of advice I would give to an aspiring entrepreneur, maybe you don't even know you're an entrepreneur, but somebody that's wanting to do it different, is do it anyway. Just do it. Take the first step, and please stay the course. Stay the course. Find supporters like you can find in Love Entrepreneurs. Find supporters, and 100% seek advice from those that are where you want to be, not those that have not walked the walk already. Find those already a bit further down the path on your chosen path or where you want to be, and find out from them. And you've got to keep I'm going to say it again, but you have to keep the vision bright above all else. You have to know why. It might just be a gut feeling. Go with your gut. Your gut is based on actual real now. This is how I'm feeling. It's not based on the past. It's not based on that. It's all based on this feels good now. Do it. So do it anyway, because you've got to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? I tried. I met amazing people, right? And actually, what I started doing isn't maybe where I ended up and what I finished doing. But because I said yes, because I decided to do it, I did it anyway. And actually, that advice stays true in my business, in the sort of social marketing and wellness space that I'm in, where people are taking that jump to create a little side hustle or big A plan, it could be, alongside their career is. Your business will only ever grow. And I think Tracy partly alluded to this. Tracy Kimberg partly alluded to this earlier in a comment. Your business will only ever grow as big as you grow. So you've got to grow yourself first. so you can build resilience and handle objections, because they are going to come at you like a revolver firing bullets at your head. They really are. And you've got to build your resilience. You've got to put on your bulletproof armor, and you've got to walk through the fire to get to the other side, because you'll feel amazing. You will feel amazing when you do it.
That is awesome. That is fantastic advice. Those of you that are listening or watching the replay, I hope you are taking this in. That is outstanding advice from someone who is doing that very thing, right? Melissa said the worst that can happen can lead you to where you need to be. So don't give up. And that's phenomenal advice. The worst that can happen can also be a catalyst to your success. That is phenomenal. Listen, thank you so much for this time. How can individuals get in touch with you? Now, I grabbed an email address, and I'll throw that on the screen. But if you have some other ways that individuals can get in contact with you, please let us know how we can get in contact with Sarah Mills.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Probably the easiest is on LinkedIn. Sarah Mills Has Got It. The reason it's got the has got it afterwards, because there's a hell of a lot of Sarah Mills out there. So if you just put in Sarah Mills Has Got It, you'll find me. You can put into Google Sarah Mills, The Art of Winning, and you will possibly find my link tree. I don't know if that shows on Google. And you will definitely find my Facebook page. You will probably also find Sarah Mills .arbon.com, which is my website. And you can find me at Sarah Mills _UK, which is my Instagram.
Sarah Mills _UK, which is Instagram. That is awesome. Listen, if you're watching this, I already know you were inspired. So I'm not even going to ask whether you were inspired or confirm that you were inspired. We already know that. And as such, because you were inspired, make sure that you are connecting with Sarah Mills ASAP. Sarah Mills, thank you so much. Thank you for taking out some time to be a part of this experience as my guest. Listen, I'm going to send you backstage for a second. Don't leave, because I want to talk to you just for a few minutes afterward. Just going to wrap up the show, and then we'll talk in just a few minutes. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Oliver, and thank you for everybody for joining us. It's been a lovely experience.
Thank you. We'll talk in just a moment. So there you have it. I told you we had a great guest, right? And there were so many things that came out of this conversation. The one thing I want to reiterate is do it anyway. Do it anyway. Listen, well, there's more than one thing I want to reiterate, but that's one. Do it anyway. And Sarah said something that I often say. She said it a little differently than I say it. Here's how I say it. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So you're going to have to do something if you want to see something, and do it anyway, and get around some folk. You guys have heard me talk about shadowing my future, and how that important that was for me, and how I urge individuals to shadow their future. Sarah talked about getting around some folk that are doing what you're doing a little bit further along than where you are, that can help cast vision and create the how. Man, this was awesome. Listen, this is The Life of an Entrepreneur. We come to you every Tuesday with great information, with insightful guests, inspirational conversations to help you on your journey as an entrepreneur, or to encourage you as you look to make the shift into this entrepreneurial journey. And it's brought to you again by Love Entrepreneurs. And Love Entrepreneurs is a fellowship that is designed to help ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. You heard about the Big Fix today, and how instrumental the Big Fix is in helping you along your way. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure you reach out to us. Listen, remember the things we talked about in the beginning, because relationship building is an important part of your entrepreneurial journey. So make sure that you are intentional about building long-term, lasting relationships that can benefit you, and you can be a benefit to them. All right. That's all we got for you today. This has been phenomenal. There's so much to hear and so much to watch. Why don't you take a moment to go back through and watch this and grab some of those gems, apply them to your daily life, because it's a journey. And on this journey, we need encouragement. And encouragement has come to you in many forms today. So that's all we got for you today. Thank you for being here for this episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. We'll see you next week.